Terrible show tonight. The Godfather Soldiers was slimming. Name my top tonight is called Subpar, and Shaky in Seattle, Washington. That's my top tonight. Before I do, I'm gonna show a little bit of music. I'm over the show with "Always Be" song "Always Be My Baby" by Mariah Carey. So stick around. Right back. Music playing right back. Yep. Always be my. Oh, Yeah, Always Be My Baby, all we just heard. Yeah, All You by Mariah Carey. Let's get down to this tonight's show. AEW Dynamite kicks off with Renee Paquette outside, and in comes Moore Jackass Freeman out of a limo. As they begin to talk, in comes Don Callis. By the way, one other thing, for those of you that didn't hear the rest of my one other thing for those of you that didn't hear the rest of my having a little technical difficulties, my little audio that I did my Raw presentation. All of you didn't hear the rest of my didn't hear some of my wrestling history and birthdays. I know I meant see because of the technical issues all you didn't hear. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I already mentioned Balls Mahoney. Yeah, I mentioned I mentioned the movies with yeah, Balls Mahoney turned would have been late Balls Mahoney, he would have been 54. And Arya Davari, he would have been Arya Davari, he turned 44 last Saturday I mentioned, last Monday. And the late Harley Race would have been '83 last Saturday. And Jerry Fox turned 60 last Saturday. His real name was Randy Ritchie. And I already mentioned the movies released theaters that same day. Movies that included the movie Critters, Offbeat starring Judge Reinhold, and the Academy Award winning Oscar nominated film A Room with a View starring Helena Bonham Carter and the late Julian Sands. Supporting cast in this movie includes the late Maggie Smith in that movie. I know I mentioned Raw and stuff like that. April 11, 2016 episode. And let's see. Yeah, this is the one when segment included Shane McMahon taking over Raw in front of Kevin Owens, and League of Nations in front of Roman Reigns, Highlight reel being canceled by Dean Ambrose, ringing the Ambrose Asylum. And I mentioned Cesaro defeating Kevin Owens #1 contenders match for the Intercontinental title. Dudley Boys defeating Lucha Dragons #1 contenders tag team championship tournament first round match. Natalia defeating Charlotte. Ric Flair by DQ WWE Women's Championship match. Usos defeating the Outcast #1 contenders tag team championship tournament first round match. AJ Styles defeating Sami Zayn. Hulk Cruz defeated Anna Rose with the Rap Dolls. Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns defeating the League of Nations. Sheamus and Butcher Rio and Rusev. I mentioned that. April 12th. Yeah. Yeah, Balls Mahoney died April 12, 2016 of heart disease. And mentioned the death of Gilbert Gottfried. Died on died at the age of 67. Then Ed O'Neill turned 80 last Saturday. Last Sunday. I mentioned all the birthdays. Jackie Redmond turned 40 and stuff. The movies, James and Giant Peach. Fear, the released on April 12th, 1996. And WWF Championship Wrestling, April 12th, 1986. Ricky Dragon, Steve Owen, Jeff Cardell defeat Moon Mountain Spot and Mr. X. Hart Foundation, Him and Hart and Jim Neidhart. Jim Hart defeated Mario Mancini. Special Delivery Jones. And Special Delivery Jones, George Nail still Captain Lombardi defeated John Rizzo. Mr. Don Morocco, Mr. Fuji defeated Terry Morin. Paul Orndorff defeated Steve Lombardi, and Corporate Christian and Danny Spiver defeated Dave Barbie and Gladiator. And I mentioned that because since all of you didn't hear the audio, the feed due to technical issues. And I also mentioned, let's see what I mentioned. A couple movies released here is Jane Eyre, April 12, 1996. Jane Eyre, starring William Hurt. Late William Hurt. Also stars Joan Plowright, Anna Paquin. Kids in the Hall, Brain Candy. Starring the cast of Kids in the Hall, comedians. And let's see what else. Mention Impact Wrestling. Beer Money Incorporated, Bobby Roode, James Storms defeated DK and the Business, Crazy Steve. and with Rosemary and Bram Young and Bromans. The Four Corners match retained the TNA Tag Team Championship. DJZ defeated Trevor Lee and Shane Helms. Mike Bennett with Maria defeated Ethan Carter. Third by DQ. Jay defeated Madison Rain and TNA Women's Knockout Championship. Matt Hardy and Tyrus defeated Drew Galloway and Jeff Hardy. I mentioned that since all you can hear that audio piece that I made last Monday. Technical difficulties. Let's see what else. Yeah, I mentioned Total Divas. Yeah, the Divas, the episode's called Sailor V Part 1. The Divas jet off to Paris, where one diva receives a proposal of lifetime relations begin to fall apart as tension between Fox and Rosa escalates. Diva ditches Mandy so she can instead hang out with the Bellas. Yeah, I mentioned that. And April the 13th, I mentioned Antonio Rocca would have been, the late Antonio Rocca would have been .100 down on March 15, 1970, a urinary tract infection. He would have been 100, that's right. And Monty Brown turned 56 last Monday. I mentioned the power period. The man from Impact Wrestling. And late Sir Mo, man on a mission. Robert Horn, his real name, he died on October 19, 2005, died from pneumonia. He would have been .62. Stan Stasiak, late Stan Stasiak, he died of heart failure. He would have been 89. He died on June 19, 1997 in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Canadian wrestler Stan Stasiak. He has a son named Sean Stasiak who wrestles. He had tag team titles. He would came to WWE one time WWF champion, World WWE champion. It was called the Worldwide Wrestling Federation at that time. And I mentioned Saturday for on WCW Pro. I mentioned on WCW Pro, Scott Norton, the Ice Train, defeated State Patrol. BK Wall Street defeated Cobra. The Giant defeated Manny Fernandez and Butch Long. Armstrong Boys defeated Men in the Work. WCW champion Lex Luger defeated Vern Hertz, and WCW US champion Conan defeated the Barbarian, retaining the title. Mention that. And Jonathan Brandis died. Would have been birthday. Jonathan Brandis would have been 50 last Saturday, and Ricky Shaw turned 56 last Monday. Yeah, he would have been 50. Jonathan Brandis would have been 50 last Monday. Ricky Schroeder would have been turned 56 last Saturday. Last Monday. And on WWF Superstars, the Godwins, Henry Godwin and Phineas Godwin, L. Godwin, the Hillbilly Jim defeated Larry Sampson and Mike Starr. Mankind defeated Jason Castro. Mike Merrill defeated Adam Grove. Justin Bradshaw with Zabukar defeated Dave Starr, and Caribbean Kid, Saudi Vega defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin with Ted DiBiase. And I mentioned on WCW Saturday Night. Ric Flair and the Giant with Jimmy Hart and Memphis and What's Living Woman defeated Miss American Males Alexander Bagwell and Sky Riggs defeated Sky Riggs. Eddie Guerrero defeated Mr. JL. Chris Benoit with Arn Anderson defeated Dave Sullivan. Belfort for his fifth film defeated Lord Stephen Wiggin by DQ. Colonel Robert Parker defeated Medusa by DQ. Brad Armstrong defeated Dean Malenko, Arn Anderson, and Kevin Sullivan with Jimmy Hart defeated Larry Santo and Rick Fargo. Sting defeated Chris Kanyon, Nasty Boys, Brian Dowds, Jerry Sadis, and Steiner Brothers versus Public Enemy, Johnny Grunge, and Rock Road and the Road Warriors in a no contest. That I mentioned. Let's see what else. And I forgot to mention Impact Wrestling. Yeah, moved to Wednesdays. Thursdays, that's right. Yeah, Samoa Joe defeated Christopher Daniels to win the X Division Championship. America's Most Wanted, James Storm. America's Storm, Chris Torres, and James Storm, Gail Kim, and Jackie Gale versus Team 3D. Brother Devon, Brother Wade in a street fight, and in no contest, Sting defeated Eric Young. Scott D. Moore, I forgot to mention that. And okay, now let's go back. Now let's go. Let me go start back with tonight's AEW Dynamite. Terrible show. AEW Dynamite kicks off with Renee Paquette outside, and in comes Warren Jack Extreme out of a limo. As they begin to talk, in comes Don Callis, who tells Warren Jack Extreme that he owes him what he did for what Andrade did. Warren Jack Extreme tells him that Andrade will never get a title match, and Don Callis walks away. Renee Paquette tells Warren Jack Extreme that Darby Allin wants his title match tonight right now. Warren Jack Extreme gets angry and begins yelling. And cut to the ring, and out comes Darby Allin. Warren Jack Extreme comes out yelling, and he says he'll get hit on the case. He will sue that stink Arbery. He will stink Allen, Pervert, Justin Roberts, Tony Khan, at AEW, Warner Brothers, and everyone in the fans. Warren Jack Extreme asks the fans if they want to see the match, and they cheer. He says, "Too bad. His back hurts from wrestling close to back into an hour against Kenny Omega. He wonders how their company will look if they forced him to wrestle tonight with an injury. He tells Darby Allin if he go checked out by the trainers in the back, but he's doing Darby a favor by not wrestling. He says the reason why the fans like Darby is because he liked them. He's not good, not great. He's a championship material. Tells them that with love and respect, Darby is not ready to be champ. But Darby takes the microphone. He tells Marcus Freeman that it all takes is one night to drop the wrestling world on its head. If he's not ready now, he'll never be ready. He says he killed himself for this company. He taped posters all around the city for tonight's show. He climbed Mount Everest and he hung the flag on top of the world. He hung the flag on top of the world. He says he is ready. He has been ready. Darby says his career started 10 miles down the road, and he gets emotional. He says he told himself he either make it as Darby or he will fail as Darby. He won't change for a single thing. And then tonight he will climb to the top of the sport, and he will not change one thing. He says to the bell. Warren Jackass Freeman says they won't ring the bell. Bryan Danielson gets up and says he just got a message from Tony Khan. He says Tony agrees with Warren Jackass Freeman it's unfair to wrestle him when he is unprepared. He says Tony will get him prepare of time to prepare because the match will happen tonight in the main event. He says if Warren Jackass Freeman refuses, he'll be stripped of the World Championship. Allin says he'll be beat his ass on Darby and Darby's music hits. Tommaso Ciampa versus Damien Xavier with the Rascals. The bell rings and run away. Ciampa with right hands followed by a kick, and Xavier falls to the outside of the ring. He throws Xavier into the barricade and back into the ring. Ciampa throws Xavier back into the outside of the ring. Xavier gets on the apron and Ciampa with a knee to the face. Ciampa throws Xavier towards the ring, but Xavier jumps over them and gets back in the ring. Ciampa gets in the ring and Xavier with right hand. Xavier to the ropes and he lands on a drop kick. Ciampa rolls to the outside of the ring. Well, I'm right back. Come back. Commercial break. Back from break, Ciampa with a headlock, Xavier right hands, and he gets out of it. Xavier would cutter followed by a springboard tornado DDT. He goes for the cover, but Ciampa kicks out. Xavier climbs to the top rope and he jumps out. But Ciampa moves out of the way. Xavier lands on his feet, and Ciampa with the right hand. He picks Xavier up, but Xavier rolls him up, but Ciampa kicks out. Throws Ciampa to the outside, and Xavier with a suicide dive. And he throws Ciampa back into the ring. Xavier climbs to the top rope and he lands on a frog splash. He goes for cover, but Ciampa kicks out. Xavier climbs to the second rope, but jumps Ciampa with a knee to the face. Ciampa lifts him up and powerbombs him on his knees. Ciampa lowers his knee and he lands on a running knee to the face. He goes for cover and gets the pin. Winner, Tommaso Ciampa. He grabs the microphone after the match. Ciampa grabs the microphone after the match. Ciampa says this was the example and why is because he is sick of waiting. He says he wants it all. He came because this is where the best wrestler, and he wants all the gold. He's not making himself clear. He's not making himself clear, he said. He says, clear Darby Allin, Warren Jacket streaming, whoever wins the Psycho Killer, he's coming for the AEW World Title. Back from commercial, FTR and Stokely halfway come down to the ring. Doc says he has to read how them winning made people angry. He says everyone loves an underdog story because people can relate to it, but they're not underdogs. People are just losers, like Adam and Christian Cage. He says as long as they're champions, they will never get a title shot again. Never get a title shot again. Stokely says the fans are educated and they know that about David versus Goliath. The two men will be in the ring. And Goliath there are a lot of villains and want to be Davids. Cash say this, they would like to pay homage to the careers of Adam and Christian Cage with a moment of silence. Now that's out of the way for those who benefited of flash photography, referring to the time of WWE. They're going to be generous and giving a 10-second pose. We're going to go to commercial break. AEW Championship match, Kevin Knight versus Claudio Castagnoli. Back for commercial, Claudio uppercut, Claudio runs towards Kevin with a clothesline, Kevin with an upper body slam followed by a splash. Goes for a hug. Claudio kicks out. Claudio with a ring apron and hits Kevin with a right hand. Claudio climbs to the top rope and Kevin hits Claudio with he falls to the outside of the ring. Kevin with a senton on Claudio over the top rope. He throws Claudio back into the ring with Claudio with the right hand. Kevin lifts up Claudio on the second rope. Claudio lifts up Kevin up, but with Kevin with right hands. Kevin lands on his feet. But Claudio with an uppercut. He goes for a cover, but Kevin kicks out. Kevin climbs to the top rope and goes for a second springboard clothesline, but Claudio with a power slam. He goes for cover, but Kevin kicks out. Claudio spins David around and slams him. He grabs Kevin, but Kevin kicks him away. Kevin climbs to the top rope and he climbs on crossbody. Kevin with a UFO splash. He goes for the cover and gets a pin. We're in still AEW TNT champion Kevin Knight. He grabs the microphone after the match. He asks among the fans if they miss him. He shouts out to Claudio, one of the hardest hitting, strongest people he's ever been in the ring with. He says that Jet is looking good. Before he won the title, he did lose the Trios title the night before. He says he doesn't blame Speedball for losing, but sometimes you have to slow down to speed back up. And the Jet is riding high. He says tonight there is MJF against Darby, and Jet 2 belts sounds good to him. Commercial break. Renee Paquette is in the ring. She introduces Jericho. She tells him that last week Jericho said he thought Chris was going to be rusty. She asks him how does it feel to be back. He says he feels happy to be back in the ring. He says his favorite matches in such a long time, even though he lost, he doesn't think he lost the match because he was in rusty or outnumbered. He congratulates Ricochet, and out comes Ricochet. He says Chris listened to him. He says he respects him, but Chris did not listen to him. Chris signed his contract and got himself hurt, and he had to do it. The opportunity was in the palm of his hands. He had to take him out with a lion salt. He renamed it the Rico Salt. He gives Chris credit. He didn't comparatively embarrass himself. He did pretty good. But not enough to overcome the rise of Ricochet. He says with that being the case, to do it himself, and he quit while he's ahead. He says Chris keeps reinventing himself. He said we saw Lionheart, the demo, the guy, the light-up jacket. How about the guy who gets his ass beat by the Demand every time he shows up? He says this could be the best run of his entire career. Jericho says the Rico Salt is brutal. He says Ricochet is bald. He appreciates him coming out bald. He respects his opinion bald. He says Ricochet is standing on the stage with his 2 goons, dumb and ugly. He has a proposition for him. Bald to leave the dumb and ugly to come down bald and face him one-on-one right now. Ricochet tells him not to call him bald. Jericho says he is too scared to come down. Ricochet tells him to stay there and not go down to the ring no matter what. He gets in the ring and Jericho with a hip toss followed by a clothesline. Jericho, they come down to the ring and they grab Jericho. They triple team Jericho. Ricochet lands on lion salt on Jericho. Real Ospreay versus Heshishiro. The bell rings and we're underway. Heshishiro with a takedown, but Will with a head scissor. Both men back up and Heshishiro with a kick to the head. Heshishiro with a chop to the chest. He throws Will to the ropes, but Will with a hurricane. Heshishiro falls to the outside of the ring. Then we go to commercial break. Back from commercial, Will to the outside of the ring. Headshell runs to the ropes and lands on Splash. He throws Will to the back of the ring. Headshell climbs to the top rope and lands on the elbow to the back of the neck. Goes for a cover, but Will kicks out. Headshell climbs to the second rope, but Will with a kick. He grabs Headshell, but Headshell lands on his feet. Will with a super kick. He goes for a cutter, but Headshell gets him in an armbar submission. Will gets to his feet. He lands on a one-arm Styles Clash. Will with a hidden blade goes for cover and gets the pin. Winner is Will Ospreay. Back from commercial, Will standing on a corkscrew moonsault. He goes for the cover, but Headshell kicks out. Will goes for a chop, but Headshell moves and he throws Will to the ropes. Will with a kick to the side of the head. Will runs toward Headshell, but Headshell with the head scissor DDT goes for cover, but Will gets his foot on the bottom rope. Downcast begins to yell at the referee with Headshell with right hands onto Will. The referee breaks it up. He goes for a doctor, but he gets in the ring. Commercial break. Mark Davis comes from behind and hits Will with a lariat. We cut to Renee Paquette, who's on stage. She is interrupted by Thekla. She says she is champion and you better get used to that. Alex Windsor comes out and says she better beat the piss out of her right now. She says Thekla isn't the only champion because she is the NJPW Strong Women's Champion. Alex says that Thekla got herself fired from Japan. Thekla says she got fired because they couldn't handle her. There's no one to handle her. Alexa says challenge to take her to title match at Collision, and Thekla accepts. AEW Championship match, Women's Championship match. Will Nightingale versus Camille. But the other rooms are underway. Willow with right hand, she grabs Camille, but Camille with a right kick. Camille with an armbar, she goes for a splash in the corner, but Willow moves out of the way. Willow with right hands, but Camille with a kick. Camille gets on the ring apron and she hangs Willow's arm up at the top rope. She gets in the ring, but Willow with chops her chest, grabs Camille, but Camille with right hand. Back from commercial, both women with clotheslines. Willow with a running shoulder tackle, and Camille's down in the corner. Willow grabs the cannonball, she goes for cover, but Camille kicks out. She grabs Camille, but she can't lift her up. Camille with a Rough Rider, she goes for the cover, but Willow kicks out. Camille lifts Willow up, but Willow lands on her feet. She pushes Camille in the corner, and Willow with a backslide, she goes for cover and gets the pin. Winner still AEW TBS champion Willow Nightingale. We cut to Moran Jack Extreme walking backstage. The camera cuts to Renee Paquette with Darby Allin. They stop in comes Sting. He tells Darby he knows what to do. Darby says it is show time, and Sting says no, it's his time to go take it. And go to commercial break. AEW World Championship match. Moran Jack Extreme versus Darby Allin. The bell rings and we're underway. Moran Jack Extreme says timeout. He takes out the diamond ring out of his trunks and gives it to a referee. And he low blows Allin behind the referee's back. Moran Jack Extreme with a headlock, but Allin throws Moran Jack Extreme to the ropes, towards the ropes. Moran Jack Extreme stops before the referee. Allin with a low blow, Allin with a Scorpion Death Drop. Allin with a coffin drop. And another coffin drop. It lands on a third coffin drop. Allen climbs the top rope and lands on another coffin drop. Allen with a side headlock cover and gets the pin. The AEW locker room comes out to celebrate with Darby Allin. Sting comes out and hugs Darby Allin. He hails the AEW Championship as Dynamite goes off the air. Oh, this is a bad show tonight. This is going to be worse than WrestleMania this weekend in WWE. Bad show tonight, yep. Now I know it's time for some wrestling history and birthday. Let's go to yesterday, April 14th. Okay, yesterday was a happy 56th birthday to WWE Hall of Famer Lita. Late WWE late Pete Rose, legendary Pete Rose. Who died on who feud with Kane. Who got chokeslammed by Kane in WWE. Pete Rose. Baseball legend. He died on September 3rd, 2024 at age 83. He would have been 85 yesterday. Marina Shafir, AEW Marina Shafir. She turns 38 yesterday. The late Larry Winters would have been 70 yesterday. He was born April 14, 1956, and died on January 27, 1915. January 27, 2015, a heart failure. Let's see some pop culture. Let's see on WCW Saturday night on WCW Worldwide. The Road Warriors defeated State Patrol Blue Bloods. Bobby Eaton, Earl Robert Eaton, Dave Taylor, Squire Dave Taylor defeated Steve Armstrong, Brad Armstrong Boys. Sting defeated Shark. Some of you know is Earthquake and Avalanche. His real name is John Tenton. Cobra defeated Frank Lancaster, WCW TV World Champions. Ric Flair defeated the Macho Man Randy Savage, retaining the title. Macho Man. Oh, this was preemptive this night, that night, WCW main event. Let's see. WCW, Sunday Night Heat. Trevor Murdoch defeated Snitsky. Eugene defeated Matt Longtime. Viscera defeated Adrian Lynch. Lance King defeated Goldust. And on Friday Night SmackDown, Brian Kendrick, Paul London defeated Johnny Nitro with Melina Mercury. Paul Burchill with William Regal defeated David Rash Brown. Matt Hardy defeated Road Warrior Animal. John Bradshaw later defeated with Jillian Hall defeated Chris Benoit and Steel Cage Match retained the WWE US Championship. And Gemini, Jake and Jesse defeated Mexicools and Psychosis Super Crazy. And Kurt Angle defeated Randy Orton in King of the Ring 2006 first round match. Then we see a set, Booker T said is Booker T saying how he said he'll be the next king. Then until Bobby Lashley came out and attacked him. Yeah, this was a funny night when Paul Burchill got Ray Regal dressed up in drag. That was hilarious. Then pop culture, couple of movies released in theaters. Scary Movie 4. It's the fourth installment of the Scary Movie series. Charlie Sheen was in that movie. Michael Madsen, late Leslie Nielsen was in that movie. A lot of all-stars. Anthony Anderson was in that movie. Really good movie. Anna Faris, really good funny movie. The Wild, featuring voices of Kiefer Sutherland, Jim Belushi, Janine Garofalo, William Shatner. Really, really fun, good anime movie. That movie right now. a movie called Hard Candy starring Patrick Wilson and Elliot Page, formerly was originally Sarah, Ellen Page. Sandra was released in theaters. And a movie, I think this was like a I think this was like a limited release movie right here. Notorious Bay Page was released, starring Gretchen Mall, was released in theaters. Let's see, 2016 SmackDown. Ryan Corbin defeated Zack Ryder. Emma defeated Paige. Real Skies, Colin Cassidy, and Enzo Amore defeated the Ascension. Conor Victory, number one contenders tag team championship tournament first round match. AJ Styles defeated Alberto Del Rio. The Vaudevillains, Aiden English, and Simon Gotch defeated Goldust and Fandango, number one contenders tag team championship tournament first round match. Sami Zayn defeated Chris Jericho by DQ. Maurice and Miz Maurice and Miz heat up Miz TV with PDA. Yeah, and see so segments. See. Now let's go to April 15th. Okay, today is a happy birthday Mike Tenay. He turns 72. And Austin Aries, he turns 48. Primetime Wrestling. Oh, 8:14. And Primetime Wrestling, hosted by Master Jimmy Grill Monsoon, Master Jimmy Hart, Jake the Snake Roberts, from the March 23rd, 1986 Maple Leaf Gardens. Jake the Snake Roberts defeated George Wells. Wild Warren Jr. defeated Lane Leapland Power with Superplex. March 23rd, 1986, Maple Leaf Gardens, King Tonga pinned Paul Christie. Cobra Christian defeated Iron Mike Shark. Rougeau Boys defeated Moondogs. Reed Jackson defeated Don Morocco. Yeah, see, Big Boy Rush winner was Big Boss Man. God rest his soul, defeated Jobber Mike Winner. The Monday Night Wars. Monday Night Raw. This was March 15th, April 15th, 1996. Monday Night Raw on San Bernardino, California, Orange, Bolivian. Wireman Mark Merrill, Leaf Cassidy, Stone Cold Steve defeated Bart Gunn. Savio Vega defeated Goldust with Marley to win the Intercontinental title. Then moments after, the referee disputed call and the WWE President Grill Monsoon vacated the title in order that the two compete in a rematch to be held. Wow. Savio wasn't happy about this. Another Southern crew, Bret Hart and Bon Jovi, talking about the Iron Man match in his future in pro wrestling, whether he can come back. Featured an in-ring interview with Vader, which was announced that they'll be facing Razor Ramon in your house. Beware of the dog. WCW Nitro, Charleston Western Civic Center in Charleston, West Virginia. The Blade defeated Arn Anderson and Kevin Sullivan. Years ago today, 30 years ago today.
GTX, engineered for greater protection against breakdown. Savio Vega on his way to the square circle to perhaps win the Intercontinental Championship against Goldust. That matchup right here tonight on Raw. But speaking of action, how about here on USA? How about coming on Saturday?
Oh, that's right. Don't miss the fun when Pacific Blue stars Rick Rossovich and Jim Davidson
Who, by the way, was at the Slammies.
That's right. They're going to host the Saturday night of original USA shows.
It all starts at 8 o'clock, 7 Central, with an all-new Pacific Blue, followed by Weird Science
and your favorite, McMahon, Duckman. Whack, whack. Yeah.
All right, Savio Vega. We talk about weird. We're not talking about weird science. Oh, no. We're talking about bizarre. And here he comes, the most bizarre individual in the history of the World Wrestling Federation. The reigning Intercontinental Champion, Goldust, led by Marlena. However, last week, right here on Raw, Goldust had his problems with the man whom he will face in less than 2 weeks in your house, the Ultimate Warrior. An interview was being conducted. Goldust came down. Take a look and see what happened.
Brother, if you're looking for a full-length, action-packed adventure, I got a full-length movie for you. Me kicking your ass from beginning to end.
Goldust will be facing the Ultimate Warrior in Omaha, Nebraska, live on pay-per-view as only the World Wrestling Federation can give you. And there he is.
I can't wait to see that matchup, McMahon. That's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah. Will the Ultimate Warrior once again be the World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Champion? Or will it be a non-title matchup? Will Savio take it here tonight on Monday Night Raw? And here we go through all the machinations of the Goldust. All these machinations obviously meant to distract his opponent. And if Goldust is not enough to distract you, Marlena certainly is.
All these what? What'd you say?
Never mind. Goldust. Wig and all. Now, have you ever been in the ring with anything quite like Goldust before?
I'll have to sit here next to you every week, McMahon.
I see what you mean. No,
some people say we're a pretty weird pair. I'm pretty and you're weird.
I see. Well, one thing you can see if you live in the heartland of America, that's live World Wrestling Federation action on April 29 in Sioux City, Iowa, and April the 30th in Des Moines, Iowa. We're going to get Raw, no question about it, 2 weeks from tonight on the 29th of April in Sioux City, and the following evening on the 30th in Des Moines, Iowa. Vega, we saw him in action at WrestleMania. We saw him as the Caribbean Kid last weekend on WWF Superstars with a victory over Stone Cold Steve Austin. And now, Savio Vega with a tremendous opportunity.
Look.
What do you mean, look? Look at what?
He's licking the belt.
And if I were the official, I might be a little careful how it... Well, then, nonetheless, that's what it's all about. The Intercontinental Championship. And Savio Vega, the veteran, knows full well that behind all of this charade of Goldust is a great competitor and a tremendous athlete.
Oh, he's tough, all right, McMahon. Who would have thought that he would take Roddy Piper to the limit like he did?
And here we go with the psychological warfare. We'll see if Savio Vega falls, or whether or not Savio Vega can keep his mind on business and focus on what... Well, I think that answers the question.
I don't know. Savio had puckered up there. I thought he was getting ready to kiss him.
Yeah, right. Savio's going to kiss him all right with a knuckle sandwich. You can count on that. Savio Vega now locking up with Goldust. Now we're going to get down to some business. And again, more tactics. Yeah, no. Savio Vega, now look at him. He's going to keep his cool because he knows full well.
Not keeping his cool. Look at him. He's hot. He's a hothead.
Yeah, right. Well, he does have a temper, no question about that. And if Goldust can find that vulnerable spot, you can bet Goldust will capitalize completely on all those opportunities.
Hope he doesn't find that spot.
Goldust has you fooled as well, huh? What? All right, locking back up Savio Vega now with the wrist lock. Let's see what Savio can do with the bizarre one, Goldust.
Oh!
Intentionally bizarre. Who do you know that walks around with his face painted gold and all the eye makeup and that outfit that he has on? Only one individual.
That's right, there's only one Goldust, of course.
Nice reversal by Savio Vega, and moving him back to the corner now. Savio Vega with Goldust. Let's see what happens here. Don't expect a clean break. We said it wouldn't be clean. Vega now coming up to Goldust, and again, Vega is falling just like every competitor who has ever gotten to the ring with Goldust, with the exception of Roddy Piper. You got to keep your mind on one thing. This man is trying to throw you off your game. That's all. Look at him begging off now.
That's right. You're right. He's not scared. He's feigning fear right now.
Exactly. He feigns so many other things. Savio Vega, a great competitor, but nonetheless wants to get rid of all these shenanigans, wants to get down to business. But since we're having some fun here, what do you think about Goldust? Boxers or briefs?
Well, McMahon, that's a secret.
I beg your pardon, secret.
Yeah, Victoria's secret. We saw that at WrestleMania.
All right, Goldust now, back up on the apron. And again, Savio Vega must contain himself.
You know, McMahon, I understand Goldust is about to star in a remake of a classic Hollywood movie.
And that would be?
Guess who's coming to dinner?
Savio has his way. Goldust going to be starting and gone with the win. Savio Vega hammering away now on Goldust. Goldust set up for the ride. From the other side and,
Ow!
knocks him down. Sidewalk slam. Nicely done. Savio Vega now with Goldust. Snaps him up. And Savio Vega hammering away, taking it to Goldust. And Savio Vega with a cover and quick counting. Almost a count of three there. Near fall for Savio Vega. Vega with an opportunity to be the Intercontinental Champion. Oh, my goodness, an elbow right into the sternum area. You wonder if Goldust has recovered from that Hollywood backlock brawl with Roddy Piper.
Hey!
Oh, look at that.
Hey, this is not the Little Rascals.
Little Rascals, what are you talking about?
Do you think he is Spanky?
Goldust defending the Intercontinental Champion. Oh, my goodness, face first to the buckle. Savio Vega with an opportunity to realize a dream to become the Intercontinental Champion right here tonight on Monday Night Raw. Stay with us. Will the dream be realized, baby?
So close.
Oh, my goodness, what a close on. And Savio Vega has really turned the tide. Vega has been all over Goldust. Welcome back, everyone, to more Raw. Yeah. And now, Savio Vega taunting Goldust.
That's right. You see, Savio Vega probably right now, even I'll admit, if he would just cover Goldust, he'd probably be the new Intercontinental Champion.
I don't think so. Vega now. Look at this. Vega with Goldust in trouble. Oh, hard right succession of right hand by Savio Vega. Hammering away. Wait a minute. Oh, no.
Right. See, he waited too long. He wanted to try to repay Goldust, try to taunt him.
And look at this. Can you imagine the director, Marlena, on the outside, all nonplussed about this whole thing, smoking her cigar, watching Goldust against Savio Vega. The title is up for grabs. No! Hard right hand. Notwithstanding the back block brawl with Roddy Piper, tonight's matchup with Savio Vega, of course, Goldust will be facing the Ultimate Warrior. Oh, my goodness. Title or no title, it's going to be Goldust against the Ultimate Warrior in your house on April the 28th. We are less than 2 weeks away from the WWF pay-per-view extravaganza, and you wonder if the Ultimate Warrior will be thrown off by all these machinations on the part of Goldust and also Marlena.
I'm still wondering what you're talking about.
Well, right now, what we're talking about is Goldust. Give me it. That's what I'm talking about.
Is that a machination?
There you go. Call it what you will. But it's definitely psychological warfare. And right now, Goldust is in control.
Yeah, it's working on a burrito breath there.
Savio Vega having great difficulty. And Marlena seems to be enjoying things. Certainly seems to be enjoying that cigar.
Do you think Marlena and Goldust filed separate tax returns?
How can you be thinking about taxes at a time like this?
Because it's almost midnight. You know, it's the deadline.
Give it. And wait a minute, he's asking for the microphone.
Huh?
In the middle of this matchup, Goldust is asking for the microphone directed to the mic by Marlena.
If you people do not shut your mouths right now, I am personally gonna come out there and kiss each and every one of you, so shut up!
Yeah, sure he is.
Come over here and plant one on McMahon.
No one can incense a crowd like Goldust. Goldust setting up. Savio Vega now. Clothesline misses from the other side. Vega almost man. Look at cover one. New champion. No. Savio Vega. So very close to becoming the new Intercontinental Champion. It's Vega now. With momentum back. My God. Wow. Savio Vega and Goldust for the Intercontinental Championship. Goldust set up for the ride. Coming on back. They sort of telegraphed that maneuver. And Goldust will rue the opportunity he took a moment ago to incite this crowd. 1, 2, and they're very much in this match. And that means a great deal to Savio Vega. If Vega knows he has this capacity crowd behind him, it could catapult Vega right into the Intercontinental title.
What's he going to do More of that machination stuff.
Slapping him around. Savio Vega in trouble. Savio Vega.
Here comes.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Vega playing possum too. He got him. No, he didn't. Oh, boy. That was close line. That was close. Savio Vega himself playing possum, much like Goldust does every time he gets into the squared circle. But it almost backfired, and now Goldust out on the apron.
He's coming to you, McMahon.
What now?
Pucker up.
What next? Goldust, it's going upstairs. Savio Vega's on his feet. Goldust is trying to get to the top, and Vega kicks him off.
Vega's trying to destroy the Golden Globes award winner.
Well, this is not for a Golden Globe Award. This is not for an Oscar. No, this is for the Intercontinental Championship.
No!
What a maneuver by Savio Vega. Vega chopping away. Vega now continues to hammer on Goldust. Here comes Savio Vega. Foot face locks Goldust. Goldust is in trouble. Savio Vega. He can suplex Goldust from this height. It's going to take him to the title.
Hold on. He can't get him.
And headbutt. Look at it. Goldust and Savio Vega. He just hit him, I think.
I don't think so.
And Savio Vega, with his head bouncing off that canvas. Goldust now from high above. Here comes the reigning Intercontinental Champion. Here he comes. He's about to come crashing. Is he taking too much time? Look at this. Goldust and Savio Vega lifted the heel of his boot just in the nick of time. Squarely underneath the chin, underneath the jaw. And even Marlena's pacing back and forth now. Marlena's concerned. She can feel the gold melting away. Goldust is not moving. Savio Vega is starting to stare now. The referee continuing to count up to 7. Vega's starting to make his move.
Get up, Goldust.
All right, just covering Savio. Savio Vega now. Trying to get back to his feet before the reigning Intercontinental Champion. Goldust. Savio Vega. Oh, with a highlight hand. Under the blocker on the right hand. Vega now. Underneath Vega. Yes. To the spine.
Sudden impact.
Vega now with Goldust. That close line covering.
Get out of there.
He's down. Vega's all over it. 1, 2, no. Stay with us. Vega's going to be the champion. I can feel it.
Freeze him!
Ouch. Damn.
It's called Mortal Kombat for a reason.
Get over here! Mortal Kombat 2, rated R.
Savio Vega with another cover. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, so very, very close. Savio Vega has almost been the Intercontinental Champion so many times, so many near falls in this matchup. Vega from the other side now. Underneath Goldust, coming right back in. Oh! And the official knocked down. Savio Vega inadvertently running right into the official.
I think he did it on purpose.
What's Marlena doing? Marlena just grabbed the Intercontinental Championship belt.
She knows this match is over.
This match is not over.
Savio's going to he'll be ejected for
Another
that.
official coming down the ringside. And Marlena throws that Intercontinental Championship belt into Goldust. One official trying to wake up the other. Beautiful! Right on the chin!
For what? The
Shades of Shawn Michaels! And Savio Vega trying to wake up. The official that he inadvertently ran into. No, wait a minute. Goldust has the Intercontinental Championship belt in his hand.
Blast him.
Goldust now off, missing. God, there you go. Covering.
Somebody get that belt out of there. Wait.
That could be Savio Vega's belt.
What's he doing
Now
with
the
it?
official getting back to his feet. So it's Goldust. Savio Vega now.
No.
Turn around.
Look at Goldust.
Don't you do it. The cover. A count. Come on, ref. Get up.
No, wait.
One.
Wait,
Come
he
on,
cheated.
ref.
He cheated. He hit him
Come
with
on,
the
ref.
bat.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
No way, McMahon.
Savio Vega. The new Intercontinental Champion.
No, this is a travesty. No.
Savio Vega's dream has come true here on Raw. Vega has become the Intercontinental Champion.
Intercontinental Champion, Savio Vega!
McMahon, this is no way.
Tremendous roar of approval from this capacity crowd. Marlena can't believe it. Goldust can't believe it. And how appropriate that Oh, wait a minute. This official is raising Goldust's hand.
Well, that's right, McMahon. Obviously, the referee there, Tim White, came in and he saw exactly what happened. He saw Goldust get hit by Savio using the belt, so he's disqualifying Savio.
Oh, he may have seen that. Gorilla Monsoon coming down here to sort through this, but obviously the first referee, we're talking about Earl Hebner there, did not see that, and certainly Savio did not bring that championship belt into the ring, that's for sure.
That doesn't make any difference. Savio used the belt to hit Goldust with, and Tim White saw it.
These two officials arguing here before President Gorilla Monsoon, who's trying to sort all this out, and certainly in this capacity crowd, the majority of them are hoping that it stands.
No.
Savio Vega is the new Intercontinental Champion.
No way. Savio has to be disqualified.
Gorilla Monsoon explaining to ring announcer Howard Finkel exactly.
Look at,
what
see,
his
the referee
decision
wants the
is.
belt back.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please.
Give the belt back.
I have just received from WWF President Gorilla Monsoon the following.
Goldust knows who won.
He is stripping Goldust of the Intercontinental Championship.
Yes, so therefore it is official.
Wait a minute.
Savio Vega is the new Intercontinental Champion.
No, wait a minute.
Furthermore, Mr. Monsoon is declaring at this moment that the Intercontinental Championship is vacant.
What? Wait a minute now. That's still not right.
He has ordered that a rematch take place here next week between Savio Vega and Goldust for the Intercontinental Championship.
That's still not fair, McMahon. Goldust should still be the champion.
Well, Gorilla Monsoon obviously seeing merit in the decision of both officials, and hearing their arguments, I guess, is ruled such as Solomon would have as best you can under these circumstances. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, in action right here.